For many men, the most uncomfortable conversations are the ones that matter the most. Concerns about losing an erection at the worst possible moment, worries about not measuring up, or the awkward shock of a urine stream splitting in two can sit heavy on the mind, yet almost never leave the lips. These concerns linger in the quiet corners of life, whispered in thought but rarely spoken aloud, even to trusted friends or a doctor. Today we bring those whispered questions into the light with the simple message that nothing about these issues makes you weak, broken, or less of a man. Men over 40, and especially those past 60, often carry the weight of silence because they believe they should already have everything figured out. But the truth that I have witnessed again and again in clinical practice is that age does not eliminate questions, it simply raises new ones. Confidence, stamina, prostate, comfort, and emotional peace are all parts of a man's well-being that deserve attention, curiosity, and compassion. When men finally speak about these experiences, the relief on their faces is unmistakable. Just knowing they are not alone lifts a burden that some have carried for years. If you have ever felt embarrassed while wondering why a single stressful thought can make an erection disappear, you are not alone. If you have looked at edited adult films and wondered why bodies on screen look impossibly large or unusually perfect, you are not alone. If you have stepped up to the toilet in the morning expecting a straight stream only to get a surprise that sprays left and right, you are definitely not alone. These experiences are shared by millions of men across countries, cultures, and generations, and they often point to simple, understandable causes that can be improved with the right information. The goal of this video is to help you understand what your body has been trying to tell you. Not with fear, not with shame, but with calm science and relatable everyday examples. Your body communicates constantly, and these private concerns are messages, not warnings of failure. When interpreted correctly, they reveal opportunities to strengthen your circulation, reduce anxiety, support your prostate, and rebuild confidence in ways that feel natural and empowering. As we move through this journey together, think of this not as a medical lecture, but as a conversation between two people who want the same outcome, your lasting health and comfort. I invite you to stay with me until the end, because I will lay out a simple step-by-step plan that you can begin today. Small daily habits can make a remarkable difference, and the sooner you start, the sooner your body begins to respond. Before we dive deep, take a slow breath and give yourself credit for showing up. Curiosity is strength, and taking care of yourself is one of the most courageous things a man can do. For your well-being, erections might seem simple on the surface, but the truth is they rely on one of the most delicate systems in the entire human body. Blood vessels, nerves, hormones, and the mind must line up in harmony for everything to work as it should. When even one part of that system feels pressured, rushed, or overloaded, the body can shift away from pleasure and into protection. This is why so many men are caught off guard when an erection fades at the first hint of stress. It feels sudden, but at the biological level, it is the nervous system doing exactly what it is designed to do: keep you safe, not necessarily satisfied. In my years of working with men across many ages, one pattern appears again and again. The first time an erection falters, the mind panics. The second time, the worry grows louder. By the third or fourth time, the body has learned to associate intimacy with stress rather than comfort and desire. This loop is known as psychogenic erectile difficulty, and it is far more common than most men realize. Younger men experience it frequently. It is not a failure of masculinity. It is simply the brain guarding the body. Understanding the two sides of your nervous system helps explain the experience. Erections rely on the calm branch, often called the rest and digest state. Anxiety activates the opposite branch, the fight or flight response, which redirects blood flow to the muscles and the heart. When that response kicks in even quietly in the background, the penis no longer receives the steady blood flow needed for a firm, lasting erection. This shift is automatic and cannot be overcome through force or willpower. In fact, trying harder usually makes the anxiety stronger, and the body tightens its defenses even more. Another crucial part of this story is the health of the arteries themselves. The blood vessels in the penis are narrow, far narrower than those supplying the heart. When circulation begins to slow from age and activity, higher cholesterol, or rising blood pressure, the very first signs often appear in a man's erections. Many men discover early heart or metabolic issues only because they sought help for inconsistent performance. In this way, the body offers a warning signal long before more serious problems appear. The good news is that these patterns can be reversed with the right approach. Reducing performance pressure, rebuilding intimacy, and supporting circulation can gradually reset both the mind and the body. Gentle medications prescribed under proper care can help during this process, not by forcing desire, but by giving the body a reliable foundation for confidence to grow again. When men understand the biology behind the experience, the shame falls away, and a more compassionate, practical plan begins to take shape. Your body is not failing you, it is communicating, and with the right habits, you can help it return to balance. You can heal steadily. For generations, many men have quietly compared themselves to the bodies they see in adult films without ever realizing that they are comparing reality to illusion. Pornography is created as entertainment, not education, and nearly every frame is shaped by selection angles, lighting, and editing that make the performers appear larger than life. When a man sees these exaggerated images over and over, his mind begins to believe they represent the average body, even though the truth is far from it. This misunderstanding fuels insecurity, and that insecurity often becomes a hidden source of performance anxiety that affects both confidence and intimacy. The average erect size worldwide falls comfortably within a wide normal range, and almost all men fit within this range without realizing it. Adult film performers are chosen specifically because they fall outside the average. It is no different from assuming every man in the world is as tall as a professional basketball player simply because that is who appears on television. When the camera zooms from a low angle, or when lighting is arranged to create dramatic shadows, the illusion becomes even stronger. Some performers also use temporary enhancers such as vacuum pumps or fillers, creating results that last just long enough for filming. These are not everyday bodies, and comparing yourself to them sets an impossible standard that no one can consistently meet. Beyond the physical illusions, pornography also distorts expectations about what partners actually want. Real intimacy is built on trust, communication, and emotional warmth, not on the exact measurements of anatomy. Many men are surprised to learn that satisfaction depends more on connection, responsiveness, and confidence than on size. In clinical practice, I have seen countless couples rediscover closeness simply by shifting focus away from performance and toward shared experience. When men stop worrying about living up to an unrealistic image, their natural rhythm and desire return, and the relationship deepens in ways they never expected. There is a powerful psychological shift that happens when a man understands that he does not need to compete with actors who are literally hired because they are uncommonly shaped. Instead, he can focus on what genuinely elevates a relationship: being attentive, being present, and being emotionally available. Partners consistently report that what they value most is feeling desired, understood, and safe, rather than impressed by any physical extreme. When men embrace this truth, their anxiety loosens its grip, and confidence grows from a healthier place. For those who still feel curious about improving their body or strengthening confidence, there are realistic evidence-based paths that do not rely on extremes. Building cardiovascular fitness, improving circulation, reducing waist size, and strengthening the pelvic floor all support a more responsive erection. Traction devices under medical guidance may offer modest, gradual change for those who want it, but surgery carries significant risk and is rarely recommended. What matters most is that men choose approaches grounded in health rather than. A split urine stream can feel confusing, embarrassing, or even alarming, yet it is one of the most common experiences men mention once they finally feel safe enough to speak openly. Many first notice it in the morning when dried secretions cause the opening of the urethra to momentarily stick together, sending the stream in two different directions. This harmless version resolves quickly and does not signal illness. But understanding the difference between a temporary blockage and something more persistent is essential, especially for men moving through their 40s, 50s, and 60s when prostate changes become more common. The urethra, the narrow channel that carries urine from the bladder to the outside world, passes directly through the prostate. As men age, the prostate gradually enlarges for most. This enlargement is mild, but for many it becomes significant enough to narrow the passageway. This narrowing can cause a hesitating stream, dribbling a feeling of incomplete emptying, or the famous midnight wake-up calls that interrupt sleep. When the pathway becomes tight even slightly, the flow can split spray or arc unpredictably, creating annoyance and sometimes embarrassment. These symptoms are not a sign of failure, they are simply mechanics. Another reason urine may split is the presence of inflammation or scarring inside the urethra, known as a stricture. This can develop after infections, minor injuries from past procedures, or simply from the gradual wear and tear that occurs across a lifetime. Unlike the harmless morning split, this form often persists over many days and is accompanied by weaker flow or discomfort. Men sometimes ignore these signs, brushing them off as aging, but paying attention early allows for simpler and less invasive solutions. Prostate enlargement, known as benign prostatic hyperplasia, is one of the most widespread conditions in men's health. It is not cancer, and it does not turn into cancer, but it does require awareness. When the bladder must push harder to move urine through a narrowed passage, it eventually tires, leading to urgency frequency and nighttime trips to the bathroom. Many men accept this as unavoidable, but treatments range from lifestyle approaches to medications, and in some cases, small, minimally invasive procedures that restore flow. Knowing when symptoms change is the key to finding the right path. Simple daily habits can reduce strain on both the bladder and the prostate. Staying well hydrated prevents urine from becoming concentrated and irritating. Sitting to urinate, especially in the morning, can give the pelvic muscles a chance to relax, which often results in a smoother stream. Avoiding rushing, allowing the bladder to empty fully, and reducing late evening fluids can also improve comfort. These strategies do not replace medical evaluation, but they support the body while you monitor for changes. The most important step is recognizing when to seek help. If you experience persistent split stream, sudden changes in flow, pain, blood in the urine, fever, or difficulty starting or finishing, these are signals that deserve attention. A urologist can assess prostate size, check for inflammation, and rule out hidden issues with simple tests. Early action protects both comfort and long-term bladder health. Understanding these signs turns confusion into clarity and helps men stay proactive, confident, and in control of their well-being. Improving a man's sexual health often begins not with medication, but with the foods he chooses, the routines he keeps, and the small daily habits that quietly shape his circulation and hormone balance. The body is remarkably responsive to nourishment, and when given the right tools, it can restore vitality in ways that feel natural, steady, and sustainable. Many men are surprised to learn that the same dietary patterns that protect the heart also improve erections because both depend on strong, flexible blood vessels. When those vessels are supported with antioxidants, healthy fats, and anti-inflammatory nutrients, the entire system becomes more resilient. One of the most powerful groups of foods for circulation includes leafy greens, blueberries, tomatoes, and citrus fruits. These ingredients are rich in compounds that help blood vessels relax and widen, allowing blood to move smoothly through the narrow arteries that supply an erection. Tomatoes in particular contain lycopene, a nutrient studied for its benefits on prostate tissue. Men who include tomato-based meals several times a week often feel improvements in both urinary comfort and overall energy. Adding a handful of nuts or seeds provides healthy fats that further support blood flow and hormone production, offering a simple way to strengthen everyday meals. Fatty fish, such as salmon, sardines, and mackerel, supply omega-3 fats that reduce inflammation and help maintain flexible arterial walls. When paired with olive oil, whole grains, and vegetables, this pattern resembles the Mediterranean-style diet, which has been consistently linked to better erectile performance. Men who adopt this way of eating frequently describe feeling lighter, more clear-headed, and more confident during intimacy because their bodies respond more reliably. Even small steps like replacing fried foods with baked options or choosing water instead of sugary drinks can shift the body's chemistry in a supportive direction. Prostate health also benefits from cruciferous vegetables, including broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage. These foods contain natural compounds that help regulate hormone metabolism and reduce oxidative stress within prostate cells. Green tea offers another gentle but meaningful boost with antioxidants that support urinary function and soothe inflammation. Some men choose supplements such as saw, palmetto, nettle root, or pygeum, though these should be discussed with a healthcare provider to ensure safety and proper dosing. When used thoughtfully, these plant-based helpers can complement nutrition and provide additional comfort. Lifestyle habits play an equally important role. Regular walking strengthens circulation, lowers blood pressure, and enhances the body's natural nitric oxide production, which is essential for firm erections. Resistance training helps maintain lean muscle and stabilize hormone levels, especially as men age. Sleep supports testosterone restoration, while limiting alcohol and avoiding smoking protects the delicate lining of the blood vessels. Hydration keeps urine less irritating, reducing strain on the bladder and prostate throughout the day. These changes do not need to be overwhelming. When men begin with one or two habits, such as adding greens to dinner or taking a daily 15-minute walk, the benefits build gradually. Over time, the combination of nourishing foods, movement, rest, and hydration creates a stronger foundation for both sexual health and overall well-being. These choices empower the body from the inside out, allowing confidence to grow naturally and consistently. Creating a clear path forward can turn confusion into calm confidence, and that is exactly what this action plan is designed to do. Sexual health, prostate comfort, and overall vitality do not improve overnight, but they do respond reliably to consistent habits. By breaking the journey into stages, men can understand what to focus on right now and what to build toward over time. This plan is flexible, meant to adapt to your age, your lifestyle, and your personal goals so that you always know your next step without feeling overwhelmed or pressured. For men under 40, the priority is understanding patterns rather than worrying about long-term decline. At this stage, erection issues are usually linked to stress, sleep, disruption, alcohol, or anxiety. The first step is to remove the pressure to perform. Focus on slow intimacy, deep breathing, and resetting expectations with your partner. Tracking your erections during mornings and during low-stress moments helps confirm that the body is functioning normally. Building a weekly routine that includes movement, hydration, and a consistent sleep schedule sets the nervous system on a healthier rhythm, which directly supports performance. For men in their 40s and 50s, the plan becomes more proactive. This is the time to check blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, and hormone levels, even if you feel healthy. These markers reveal the earliest changes in circulation, which often show up first as inconsistent erections. Adding a daily walk, strength training twice a week, and a few intentional food upgrades such as more greens, fewer processed snacks, and regular omega-3 rich meals strengthens your foundation. If anxiety continues to interfere, short-term medication can offer reassurance while you rebuild trust in your body. Partner communication becomes essential in this stage, easing tension and improving connection. For men in their 60s and beyond, attention shifts toward maintaining comfort, especially around urinary flow and prostate health. Watching for changes in stream urgency or nighttime trips allows you to catch issues early. Staying well, hydrated, reducing evening fluids, and sitting to urinate can ease strain on the bladder. Regular checkups with a urologist help monitor prostate size and rule out inflammation or strictures. Gentle exercise remains vital, not for speed or intensity, but for keeping circulation steady and joints comfortable. Many men find that mindful stretching or Tai Chi helps reduce tension and support overall balance. Across all ages, mindset matters as much as mechanics. Viewing your body as an ally instead of an adversary reduces anxiety and helps restore a sense of control. Set small weekly goals, such as 2 long walks, a home-cooked meal, or a quiet evening routine that supports sleep. These achievements build momentum and make sustainable change easier. If you share your goals with a partner, the sense of teamwork deepens, and intimacy often grows naturally without the pressure that once caused stress. By following this stage-based plan, men gain clarity, structure, and confidence. No matter your age, your body can adapt and improve when given steady support. At the end of every conversation about men's health, the message that matters most is the one that often goes unsaid. You are not alone, and you are not broken. The challenges men face with erections, confidence, prostate changes, and anxious thoughts are incredibly common, yet so many carry them in silence. When you finally hear that these experiences are normal and in many cases reversible, something inside relaxes. The pressure eases, the frustration softens, and the possibility of improvement begins to feel real. That shift in mindset is not just emotional, it is biological, because a calmer mind supports a healthier body. For years, I have watched men walk into appointments with fear in their eyes, believing they were the only ones dealing with these issues. Minutes later, after learning the science behind anxiety circulation size myths or urinary changes, the relief on their faces is unmistakable. Understanding transforms fear into clarity. When men realize their bodies are communicating rather than failing, they begin to respond with curiosity instead of shame. Curiosity opens the door to healthier habits, and healthier habits create momentum toward real progress. This is where confidence starts to return, not from perfection, but from evidence that improvement is possible. Your masculinity is not measured by performance by size or by how perfectly your body responds every moment. It is measured by how you care for yourself, how you show up for the people you love, and how willing you are to pay attention to your health. Strength comes from choosing to improve your circulation, protect your heart, support your prostate, and calm your nervous system. It comes from asking questions instead of pretending everything is fine. It comes from taking small steps, even on days when motivation feels low. Those steps add up, and your body notices every single one. What truly supports intimacy is not physical perfection, but emotional presence. Partners consistently say they value honesty, warmth, patience, and connection far more than any measurement. When you let go of comparison and unrealistic expectations, you free your mind to enjoy the moment instead of judging yourself. This shift alone can dramatically improve performance because it pulls you out of the fight or flight state and back into the rest and digest mode where arousal naturally thrives. Your body wants to work with you, but it needs your mind to stop treating intimacy like a test. As you move forward, choose one small habit to begin today. Maybe it is a daily walk, a home-cooked meal, an earlier bedtime, or simply drinking more water. Maybe it is scheduling a long overdue checkup or sharing something honest with your partner. These actions are not small, they are transformative. They tell your body that you are ready to support it rather than fear it. Over the coming weeks, these habits will compound and you will begin to notice deeper sleep, steadier energy, and more reliable performance.